Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you followed my link from Instagram, I am Variety with Vianelli. Or if you found my video on YouTube, my name is Marisela Castillo. So today's video, what I want to talk to you guys about is different types of eyeshadows. So if you're just getting into makeup just kind of like I am very interested in knowing all of the different types of eyeshadows that there are. And to my surprise, there are a lot of different eyeshadows out there, and I didn't really realize how many different types that there are and what different types give you different looks on your eyelids. So I wanted to talk about all of those different eyeshadows, so just spread a little bit more awareness that there are different types of eyeshadows out there. So if you're looking for something new, don't worry, there is something out there for you. So let's get into the video so we can start talking about makeup. So I kind of have a couple notes on my phone that I am gonna be kind of following, just because there are a few things that I did have to look up and a few things that I did not know about, or I knew about but I didn't have so much as a full scope over the topic. So I will be referencing back to my phone. So if you see me looking down a little bit, it is because I'm just looking at my notes here that I have on my phone about a few of the types of eyeshadows that I did have to look up. So the most common eyeshadow that a lot of people have seen is a pressed powder. So what that means is they have the eyeshadow and they press it and compress it into either a palette or a individual pan, or they put the individual pan into a palette. So I have this one here. This is just my own Z palette that I made with my individual ColourPop shadows. These are all ColourPop individual shadows. In here I have a mix between matte shadows, satin shadows, as well as shimmery shadows. So powder shadows are usually the easiest to blend because the colors sit well on top of each other. As I mentioned, these are typically the most commonly seen. The matte shadows, this top row here, the top row, these are all three matte shadows. So the color is just going to be very, I don't want to say dull, but it's going to be very muted. It's just going to be that color and that is it. It's just going to lay on the eye like a powder. Shimmery shadows are going to be more colorful. It's going to be a lot more shiny. You're going to have a more metallic looking eye. It will not be metallic per se, but there is a way to make your eyeshadows, to make your shimmery shadows look more vibrant, as if the colors are looking a lot more more foiled. And what you can do is apply your shimmer shadows with a glitter glue. This one is the Too Faced glitter glue. I know NYX has a glitter glue. If you don't go out and buy the high-end version, this one is just a sample size. That's why I have it. But this is a Too Faced glitter glue. What you can do is use typically when you apply these, it is better to use a synthetic brush when you are applying a shimmer shadow with glitter glue. So I have this synthetic flat eyeshadow brush right here. In this flat eyeshadow brush, I will put a little bit of the glitter glue on top of the brush, and then I will place it on my eyelid, tap it on my eyelid, the glitter glue, and then I will go with the shimmery shadow on top of that and place it down onto the eyelid so that it looks more vibrant and the colors last longer as well. If you do not have a synthetic brush, you can also use your finger. If you dip into the shadow pan and apply it with your finger, that also helps the shadows apply better as well. If you don't have the option to go out and get the glitter glue, then you can also apply it with your finger as well to get the similar effect. While we are talking about shimmery shadows, I wanted to mention the ColourPop shadows, the Super Shock shadows. These are so pigmented meaning they have a bunch of color. The color payoff is so good that it is just amazing. So pigmented meaning it has lots and lots of color, and it will make applying your eyeshadow very easy because it is very pigmented. So the Super Shock shadows are pretty much shimmery shadows times 1,000, because the formula that ColourPop has in their Super Shock shadows is just unbeatable to so many that I have tried. Unbeatable to me in the way that I can't get my regular shimmery shadows to apply like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow, because if I wanted it to look like the ColourPop Super Shock shadow, then I would have to use a glitter glue, apply it with a brush or my finger in order to make it look as good as I would want. So if you want to skip all of that, you can try just a ColourPop Super Shock shadow. The next type of eyeshadow that I want to talk to you guys about is a cream eyeshadow. This is not a cream shadow, this is actually my MAC paint pot. But when you do get a cream eyeshadow, it will look similar to this. It will be in like a little pot like this, like a little glass pot. It will have a thick consistency. It will have a thick consistency similar to like the MAC paint pot. The reason why you would use a cream eyeshadow is so that it lasts long, so that you are able to just swipe it on and be done with the color. You don't have to do any extra blending, you don't have to do any extra packing on of color. It is just swiped on and you're good to go. The third type that I have is a liquid eyeshadow. A liquid eyeshadow is going to be in the form of a component, and usually mostly it's going to have a doe foot applicator. So this one is the Stila Magnificent Metals liquid eyeshadow, and I know these were pretty hyped up a couple months ago in the beginning of the summertime. These were so hyped up, the Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow. This one is from Stila, and you can get these at like Ulta or Sephora, and kind of looks like a lip gloss, because when you pull it out, it is on a doe foot applicator. So the doe foot applicator, I like using it because once you just, it's basically like just painting on your eyeshadow. The Magnificent Metals from Stila, this one is also a really good one because it has obviously shimmery glitter inside of it. So it is nice to lay down all of it without having to use a, as I mentioned, a glitter glue or a shimmer or constant more colors. It is just applying it, basically like painting it right onto your eyelid. The fourth type of eyeshadows is a loose pigment. This one is from Naked Cosmetics. Basically looks like very finely milled color together. So if that, before the eyeshadow is compressed, I'm sure it would look something like this. So it is basically just a little container. This one has a screw-on lid. It's just a little container, and inside of it, it has all of the loose pigment inside of it. So it is very colorful, very, very finely milled, so that you are able to pick it up with your brush and apply it. The way that you would want to apply it is either using a glitter glue or mixing medium. Mixing medium is basically like a base that creates a nice texture of the loose pigment to apply it onto your eyelid. The mixing medium will make it adhere to your eyelid so that it is able to lay down nice and smooth. In my opinion, the difference between a glitter glue and a mixing medium is that a glitter glue makes something stick to your eyelid, but the mixing medium actually creates a texture to place onto the eyelid. And this, I would just use another synthetic brush. This one is from Wet n Wild. Don't need anything special, just a little synthetic eyeshadow brush, flat shader brush. Get mixing medium on the brush, go back and forth a little bit to get it flat, and so that all of the product is distributed onto my brush. Go into the loose pigment and then start to apply it onto my eyelid, because it creates a texture to place onto the eyelid. That's probably not the right word to use, but in my opinion, that's what makes sense to me. to say that I'm creating a texture to place onto my eyelid. That's what makes sense to me. If that's not the right word to use, I'm sorry, but that's what makes sense to me. Fifth type of eyeshadow is a stick eyeshadow or a crayon eyeshadow. This one is from NARS and it is a velvet shadow stick. This one is basically, you take the lid off of it and it's like a retractable crayon. This is another one of those products that is pretty much just swipe it on and then you're ready to go. You don't typically have to blend these out because the product is already on there. I would suggest if you do have oily eyelids like I do, make sure that you do place a base down before you are using this. The sixth type of eyeshadow is a baked eyeshadow. I personally don't have any baked eyeshadows. I have a couple baked bronzers or baked blushes, but I don't have baked eyeshadows. I know that e.l.f. has a baked eyeshadow palette. I've seen it a couple times, but I just have never wanted to purchase it myself. But baked eyeshadows are literally that. They are baked in a oven. What I read online is it is easier to pack on pigment, to pack on that eyeshadow onto your eyelids because it is baked. So it is easier for you to use them because of how it is made, and I guess because it's baked, it's easier for you to pack on that color. The last thing that I want to tell you guys about is loose glitter. So loose glitter, this one is from NYX and it's the Face and Body Glitter Brilliance. Loose glitter is pretty much like using a loose pigment. You have to be careful when you do apply loose glitter onto your eyelid. Make sure it is safe to use on your face. But as always, make sure that you are careful with the loose glitter because, girl, if you get glitter in your eye, it is going to burn. I have gotten loose glitter in my eyeball before and it burns. So please be careful. Make sure that you are being careful and you are applying things that are safe to your face and to your eyelids. What I like to do is use any of my synthetic flat shader brushes, and as I mentioned, I will use my glitter glue. There's also glitter glue from, I think, Lit Cosmetics, but I do know that that brand is out there, and it is a liquid glue that you dip your brush into, then get into the loose glitter and apply it to your eyelid. But for me, I don't have that, so what I do is I will always use my glitter glue, apply it to the brush, pack it onto my eyelid, go into the loose glitter, and apply it to the lid. Alright, so I know we went over a couple products in the video, but I'll have a list of the products that I did talk to you guys about in the description box below, so that if you do want to check one of the products out, you are able to. So if you've never tried a liquid eyeshadow or if you've never used a cream eyeshadow, I will have that listed down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was informative and I hope it made sense to you guys. I kind of just tried to explain it the best way that it made sense to me. If it didn't make that much sense to you, please just leave me a comment down below so that I can try to explain what I meant by what I was saying. So if it did help you out, make sure that you do leave a comment telling me that it helped you out in some way, or if you want to see a different video about something else, a different kind of makeup like blushes or bronzers, please let me know as well, and I'll do my best to research that product and let you guys know a little bit about it. That way we can all try to learn a little bit more about makeup before we use it or before we have a makeup malfunction or what have you. So leave me a comment down below. Make sure that you do subscribe to my channel before you exit this video. Otherwise, you might lose me out in the YouTube world and you don't want that. Bye guys!